mentioning miracles if you don't have permission to do that. Generally, they call the karamat hayd al-awliya. It's like the menstrual cycle. You don't tell people when you're menstruating. If somebody has a karama, something happens at their hand that's miraculous, they should actually hide it. They shouldn't tell people about it. إِذَا لَمْ يُؤْذَنِ. Sometimes there's a idhan through ilham. They have an ilham where they do it in order to let people know. Because some people, it increases their faith. When they see karamat, they will believe in miracles, the mu'jizat, because a lot of people lose their faith in miracles. In fact, we have Muslims that deny miracles now. Say the only miracle of the Prophet ﷺ is the Quran, which is not true. So this is just mentioning that miracles is something that you should not do. It's best not to tell people your dreams. If you have true dreams, you should tell people that are capable of interpreting those dreams, things that happen to you, spiritual states. Those things are best kept to yourself, because you'll either get people that are envious, the danger of ujub, of vanity, and also that those things can be taken away from you for that reason, because it's a test of people's sincerity as well. And then fihi lahu ahra idha lam takuni, and especially if they didn't happen. So if you tell a lie about it, it's much worse. In fact, Imam al-Ghazali says that one of the reasons for su'al khatima, which is to have a bad seal, is to claim wilaya. Like if somebody claims to be a wali, then it's a reason for su'al khatima. It's a very dangerous thing to do. All the believers have wilaya amma. They have all. Wilaya khasa, and then also the khasat al-khasa, the wilaya or the special, the sanctity of the elect is something that that's something known to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Some of the, obviously, I mean, there's people that recognize this in other people, but it's a dangerous thing. And some of the awliya were given permission, again, through ilham, to tell their position. And there are awliya that have done that in the past, to warn people. But generally, to make a claim is a very dangerous thing. And تطهيرا من الشرك والدعوة. If you want purification from shirk and da'wah and making claims. Because the best position is to take no position. لا تدعي شيء. Don't claim anything. The Prophet ﷺ said, لا يزال أحدكم يتعلم حتى يقول قد علمت فإذا قاله فقد جهل. One of you will continue to learn until he says, I know. And once he says that, he's ignorant. So to claim to be a alim. I mean, I remember once, years ago, I read with one of my teachers, he's a genius, brilliant Mauritanian scholar. And I read to him a hadith about the ulama of the end of time. And he said, هذا وصفنا. This is our description. Like it was a negative thing. And he said, هذا وصفنا. When I mentioned that to another one of the Mauritanian scholars, he said, يدعي أنه من علماء آخر الزمان. He said, he's claiming to be amongst the ulama of the last time. Like to him, it was like, he didn't even want to do that. But sometimes the ulama have to declare themselves. If there's a lot of ignorance and people, they come out. If somebody knows, they say the ulama, there's people who know and don't know they know, and there's people who know and know they know, and there's people that don't know and know they don't know, and then there's people that don't know and don't know they don't know. Those are the four states of people. The first one, they say, remind him. Because somebody will come, and some people really don't see themselves worthy of something. If they have knowledge, they could know grammar. They say, no, la aslahu li hadha, I'm not, I don't, then you have to say, no, look, and I need to learn, and so it's an obligation on you, because whoever conceals knowledge that they've been given, Allah will give them a lijam. Now, Imam Malik, a man came to him and asked him about something, and he didn't answer him, and then the man quoted that hadith, and Imam Malik said, if I thought you could handle the answer, I would have told you. And so that's also another thing. Sometimes people want knowledges that they're not ready for. طعام الصغار طعم الكبار سم الصغار. The Arabs have a proverb that the food of adults is poison for children. You can't give little babies adult food. You'll kill them. And the same is true as knowledge. If you try to learn things that you're not ready to learn, there's tadarruj in knowledge. There is steps of learning. So that's very important to remember also. So then he says, تزكية النفس افتخارا أما شكرا فتطب كذا من أما تنبيه من لم ينتبه لذي خفا. So he's saying تزكية النفس is to say that I'm this, that, or the other, and boast about it. As for shukr, to show gratitude for a blessing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you, وَأَمَّا بِنِعْمَةِ رَبِّكَ فَحَدِّثْ. Speak about the blessing of your Lord. That blessing of the Prophet ﷺ was the guidance that he had been given to give to people. And he also said, أَنَا حَبِيبُ اللَّهِ أَنَا سَيِّدُ وَلْدِ آدَمْ وَلَا فَخَرْ. I mean, it's very important that the Prophet ﷺ said, when he said, أَنَا سَيِّدُ وَلْدِ آدَمْ, I am the Sayyid of the children of Adam. He said, وَلَا فَخَرْ, and I'm not boasting. He was told to do that by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So you can tell people about, again, but as an act of shukr, you can talk about things. But again, it's very tricky because the shukr of lisan, they say, is to Alhamdulillah, I have good health. Alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed me with a good job. Alhamdulillah. That's tahadduth bi ni'millah. And then there's the shukr of the arkan, of your limbs. And that is that وَالشُّكْرُ صَرْفُ الْعَبْدِ مَا أَوْلَاهُ مِنْ نَعْمَاهُ مِنْ مَوْلَاهُ مِنْ نَعْمَاهُ فِي رِضَاهُ. That shukr is to use your limbs for what they were created for. So the shukr of the tongue is truthfulness and dhikr. That's the shukr of the tongue, is to be truthful and to remember your Lord. The shukr of the eye is to look at the creation of Allah and take ibra from it, but not to look at those things Allah prohibited you. That's the shukr, to use your limbs in what they were created for. And so that's what he says. Now, about tanbiha man lam yantabih lidi khafa, that's like a teacher who tells his student, خُذْ عَنِّي فَوَاللَّهِ أَنَا مَقْبُوض, يعني take from me before I leave this earth. So he might encourage somebody to take, I have a lot of knowledge. Like Sheikh Abdullah bin Bayya is somebody, he has a lot of knowledge. He can say, take this knowledge from me, because I have knowledge to give. Take it from me. So the scholar can do that to a teacher. Imam Ali radiallahu anhu, that's what he said to people. He said, I have all of this knowledge, take it from me. And the ulama can remind people to do that. ينفعه كما جرى ليوسف, because Yusuf alayhi salam, when he said, اجعلني على خزائن الأرض إني حفيظ عليم, he said, let me be the caretaker of the storehouses, the treasury, the storehouses of Egypt. In fact, they say, there's a book I have called Fada'ilu Masr, the virtues of Egypt. And they say it's enough for the people of Egypt to be proud that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, ala khaza'in al-ard. Like al-ard is the whole earth, but he meant Egypt. This is itlaq al-kull ala al-ba'd. It's to use the whole for the part. It's a type of rhetorical trope. And so just the fact that he said, make me of the khaza'in al-ard, and instead of saying Masr, that it honored Egypt. It showed you how great Egypt was as a country. And so Yusuf alayhi salam was telling them, he told him, and that's why they say you can write a CV and tell people what you did. That's not tazkiyah, it's not boasting, it's not. So you can do a curriculum vitae, tell people what you're capable of doing. If you're qualified to do something, then you should tell people if it's appropriate at the time. But to sit around and just say, oh, I can do this and I can do that, and by the way, I can do this also. There's people that talk about themselves all the time. It's very interesting to see biographies on like documentaries where they have biographies. I watched a biography recently, and what was so fascinating was everybody talked about themselves instead of the person that the documentary was about, because they were all narcissists. They were just egoists. And it's just so interesting. Instead of talking about the person, they would just talk about themselves in relation to the person, but in a way that it was clear they were just talking about themselves. And people love to talk about themselves. They have whole books on, how to win friends and influence people. They just say, just listen to them. Because people love to talk. Spies learn to just agree, because people will start telling everything. If you just say, oh, I couldn't agree with you more, they just keep going. So,